I admit, Christmas isn't my favorite holiday. Its essence has been drowned in a sea of commercialism, and it seems that much of what transpires has become obligatory rather than heartfelt. Nonetheless, I want to suggest the gift idea that hopefully is more in line with the holiday's original intent. It's not made by Apple, and it doesn't come with any apps, but it's unquestionably the best gift we can give to our country's youth. During the holidays, parents scurry around buying stuff for their children, and with good reason. Christmas morning is a wondrous time when the burdens of the day-to-day are obliterated by the pure joy only evoked by watching a child reveal their Christmas bounty. Countless pictures and videos will be taken, though I suspect they'll rarely be viewed a year from now. All this is fine, but fleeting. There'll be no Kodak moment or immediate elation with my gift, and if you anticipate a gushing thank you, it isn't going to happen. Yet this gift will be far more meaningful than any toy or trinket. For the first time in a century, our youth face the prospect of experiencing a lower standard of living than the previous generation. The burdens created pursuing instant gratification by the me generation will weigh heavy on our children. But the good news is, like the ghost of Christmas future, it doesn't have to be that way. Politicians are fond of bandying about the term patriotism. Often it's to praise our military, but almost as often it's to accuse the other side of being unpatriotic. Given the frequency that the word is used, I was curious as to the formal definition. Patriot, a person who loves, supports, and defends his or her country and its interests with devotion. Clearly, our military fit the bill, and nowadays they may be the only people who do. Granted, it's difficult for those of us who haven't served in the military, who haven't put our lives on the line, to claim the mantle of patriotism. Sure, most of us love our country, but what has the average person done to defend its interests? Displaying a flag or wearing a lapel pin is a symbolic act that only covers the love and support part of the definition. Even voting doesn't earn one the mantle of patriotism. Face it, anyone 18 years of age with a heartbeat can vote. There's no test, no competency requirement. Voting should be considered a minimum responsibility. And besides, given the pathetic choices we're usually faced with, it's a stretch to believe that the act in any way defends our interests. Sadly, these days, voting has been relegated to damage control. So here's my gift suggestion. Pledge to your children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews that you will earn the right to be called a patriot. It's time for all of us, not just our military, to defend this nation, because our greatest threat is no longer external. Like so many empires before us, our country is in danger of imploding. And rather than working to prevent the collapse, Washington continues to increase the pressure on the increasingly fragile walls of this great land. This is the origin of my disdain for Washington. In my book, today's politicians, with few exceptions, are this country's most unpatriotic citizens. Instead of doing all they can to defend our way of life, they are totally preoccupied with their own lives. How often have you heard a talking head say that nothing will get done until after the election? Is there any act less patriotic? Given the gift of patriotism requires two things: education and evangelism. So rather than watch one of those inane morning shows, watch a news show, or better yet, read a newspaper. Put aside any fascination you may have with the latest missing person, and pay attention to our missing in action politicians. This isn't a partisan issue, and it doesn't matter which political party you support. It is the system that is broken and must be fixed. It is the void of leadership that must be filled. If these fundamental problems are not addressed, future Christmases won't be nearly as bright. So as we look forward to a new year, let's not lose sight of what is truly important. passing our wonderful way of life onto future generations. Accomplishing that obligation requires everyone to be a patriot. And wouldn't the legacy of patriotism be the greatest gift we can give our children?